everyone, welcome to Mrs. Sun's math class. So my family name is Sun, S-U-N. So I'm happy you call me Mrs. Sun or Mr. Sun. And before we start, I want to introduce the textbook. So for the year 10 study, in my school, the school I'm working at the moment, a public school, so we use Cambridge textbook. So it looks like that, and that is the version 4. So this Cambridge textbook, so you can see here they have version 4, the sign here. Okay, so 3 years ago we used another version, so that is version 2. So the cover page looks like that, but basically contents are very similar. And from my OneNote, because basically I will use my OneNote, the OneNote I use for my students in the class to teach the year 10 contents in this video. So in my OneNote, you probably can find I also use another 2 different textbook. So one is this one, so very famous. So that is a Hayes textbook, so mathematics. And I also have another one, so that is very old version, so it's still from Hayes. Okay, and also I use another textbook, is this one. So this one is we use in, I think, Victoria, they use that, but it's a very old textbook. You probably can find currently they have a lot of new version, but from the same brand or yeah. So before we start, I'm also happy to introduce what's the outline, so what's the topics we are studying for this year 10 contents. So first we check outline here. So basically, so in term 1, in the whole year we have 4 terms. So in the first term we will study topic 1, topic 2. So that's my teaching sequence. And also for topic 3 and topic 4 will be in term 2. So before I start, I always introduce this outline to my class and let them to check so what they will have, so what kind of assessment they were going to have. So they can find for the topic 1, linear equations and the inequalities. They will do the assessment 1, so they will have a test here. They can use calculator and definitely no help notes. And in the topic 2, they will study the indices and thirds, and that formulas will be given, but no calculator. So topic 3 and topic 4, you can also find it. So they have some investigation for the topic 3, and the topic 4 we just do a test. So still we can have the formula but no calculator. So now we are happy to go to the first topic. So that is the term 1, week 1, the first lesson. So we just introduce or do the revision for the algebra. So before we start, I always ask my students, they have to prepare like a math kit for their math study. For example, they need prepare a math notebook. I always prefer they have a A4 size math notebook, so the grade paper. And I will ask my students also bring a long ruler. So what they're going to have is they have the A4 size textbook like this. And I will ask my students, they have to draw a top here, a top line. So this horizontal line, and we keep that on the top. I will ask my student write on the title. So the title will be right down here. And also the date, they have to write down here. For example, today is 2nd of August, 2026. So they will add the date after title. And also for this A4 size page, I ask students have to draw 2 margin here. So one is on the left hand side, one is middle. So this margin is used for if they need write down the page number. So like the page 100, then question 2 or exercise. So 1A, like that kind of information information. They will all leave that here. So then they can copy down the original question and then solution. So that is basically, I ask my students have to prepare for the first lesson. And also another thing is I will ask them copy down the title and also check the learning intentions. So these learning intentions are all come from the Cambridge textbook. So you can see here. So from the first lesson, they have to get a very clear idea, like what are these keywords of algebra. So they have to understand the term, coefficient, expression, equation, and they also have to know how we can combine the like terms. So like terms and when the situation is addition and subtraction, and also how we can multiply and divide. So, and factorize and also substitute the values. So you can see from this lesson, basically, we just go through all the contents they study from the year 9. So before we start the contents, so after they write down the title and the date, they check the learning intention, and I will ask my students, so what are these keywords means? And if they have not clear idea, I will ask them copy down some keynotes. So the first keynotes, not this green table, the first keynotes is always start from here. So this one is, I call them is the algebra laws. So we have 3 basic laws. The first one is the time sign can leave out. So between the multiple quantities. So what that means is if the students can see 3a, and 3a that means is 3 times by a. So it's not 3 plus a, no 3 take a, no 3 divide by a. So it's only 3 times a. Why? Because only times symbol they can leave out. Same way, so you can see here, if we have xy, so that is still means x times y. Why? Because only time sign can leave out. Only time sign can leave out. So the rule 2 is if you write numerals, they will have to be first in any product. So when you see the result, like 3 times z, so we have to write 3z, okay? We can't write z3. So that is number have to be first. And the number 3 is we have 2 or more letters, so you have to write them in alphabetical order. So you always can see that is A, B, C, but the result we won't write down is C, A, B or C, B, A, okay? So that is the 3 algebra laws you have to know before we study the algebra. And then after that, it will be keynotes 2. So you can see here, they have the meaning of the variable. Variable, we can also call them unknown and also call them pronumeral. So they are all means it will be represented by a letter or symbol. So P, L, W, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, they are all called variables, all pronumerals or unknown. So second is expression. So expression, you can see they have numbers, they have variables, and they have operational signs. So that will be operational signs is plus, take, times, multiply, and or even the square, okay, the index, or the square root, or this kind of. So for all this kind of operation signs and also number of variables, and they combine together, that is expression. But you can see here, we definitely, so we have the operational sign plus and take, we have the variable y and x, we have the number 2 and 7, and that's it, okay? But for next one, you can see here, so equation. So one equation, that means it must be contains an equal sign, and only one equal sign here, okay? So this kind of question we call them equation. Next one is terms. So terms will be separated by plus or take signs. So when they have each plus and take sign, that means it's one term. So the first term, I always check with my students. So what is the symbol for the first term? And the answer will be positive because that is a plus. Only plus we can omit, okay? So it's positive 3x. Then second term will be negative 2y. Number 3 term will be positive xy. And the last term will be negative 7. So next one is like terms. So like terms, I talk to my students, so they mean the same variable form, okay? So same variable form, it means here they have the same letter or letters. And also same letter, they have to got the same power or same index. Okay, so that is why for x and negative 3x, we don't need to care what is the number in front of your x. We only care about if you have x or other letters, only you have one x, and then only you have one x letter, and also we check the power of the x. So power of the x here, there is nothing, so that it means we're hiding a 1 here. So x to the power of 1, x to the power of 1. So next two, they are not like terms, okay, because they have different letters. One is x, one is y. And last one, they are also alike terms. And then next one will be constant term. So for the constant term, the basically idea you have to know is it doesn't contain a variable. So means it only contains a number. So for the number value, so we will say that is a constant term, because in this expression, you can see here they have 4 terms. So the third term is 7. So 7 is a constant term. Means this value for the third term, it won't be changed. It always just 7, okay? Until you add another like term. So all the constant terms, they are like terms. So all the constant terms, they are like terms. Because all the constant terms, we know they are numbers. And numbers, they can always add or subtract. Okay, so all the constant terms, they are like terms. Okay, the last one, coefficient. So we're always talking about here. So for example, 4x, the first term, and what's the coefficient of first term? That is positive 4. Okay, so always you have to keep that in your mind. You not only answer is 4, you have to say that's positive 4. And for the second term, that is positive 2. And for the last term, that is negative. Some of my students will always say, Miss, that's negative 0. But no, answer is negative 1. Because if it's negative 0 in front of y cubed, so we know 0 times y cubed, that equal negative 0. So that it means the whole term, the third term, will go to a 0 value. But that is not true. So you can check here. So if y equal to 1, that negative y cubed will be negative 1. Y equal to 2, negative y cubed will be negative 8. So that means y definitely not 0 until you say y will be equal to 0. Okay, but the other situation, because y is unknown, that means we can substitute a lot of values to this unknown and to get what's the value of negative y cubed. So definitely negative 1 will be, because negative 1 times y cubed is still equal itself negative y cubed. So this one is work. So this part, please, okay, make sure each time you will be asked, your answer is negative 1, but not a 0. Okay, so that is the second keynote. That is our preparing before we start do our algebra. And you can see here from the Cambridge, we also have very similar keynotes. And also they're talking about the order of operations. So order of operations, we're always talking about is bit mass or bad mass, okay? So this one, oh, bad math. Okay, so here B, the mass here is B, it means bracket, so that is my bracket, and I is means indices, and then D is means multiplication, sorry, D is means division, and then M it means multiplication, and A is means addition, and S it means subtraction. Okay, so we can use bit mass or bad mass, so depends on the textbook. If we're calling about bad mass here, E it means exponent, so another way we call the index. Okay, so it will be the same thing, so index or exponent, they are means the same. So after we got a clear idea of all these keynotes, and then we will have a look at the first example here. So before we start, guys, we will check. So here, are they like terms? We will find they are, because they both have the unknown letter A, and the power of A is nothing, that is means 1, okay, because they didn't present. So it means 1 here, only 1 we can omit. So that means 7 lots of A and plus 3 lots of A. So the answer is 10 lots of A. So my students always confuse, Miss, why we just write 10 lots of A and not 10 lots of A square? A square is not correct, guys. It's not correct, okay? So if you write down A square, I will give you 0 mark in the test. And the reason is like that. So we're assuming A is unknown. So A means something. So what means something? A here, maybe we just give one example. So maybe A means apple. So 7A means you have 7 lots of apple or 3 lots of apple. And then you will add together, so you have 10 lots of apple. And A can be something else like the pencil or laptop. So you have 7 lots of laptop plus 3 lots of laptops. Okay, total you have 10 lots of laptops. And also here, so we have other things you can find out. So they have A square B and A square B. So we still check. So we have the same letter A, and then 2 is the power of A. And we have same letter B. There's no power writing here, so that is means power equal to 1. So that means they have the same algebra format. So same letter A, power 2, same letter B, and power 1. So then we can add them together. We just use coefficient and combine another coefficient. So 3 take 2. So that is means 1 lots of A square B. So that is the answer. Okay, so after we're familiar with the like terms, and we probably will check like this kind of question. And you can see here, I always advise my students, so for this like terms, I hope you can label them. So you can use the same kind of label like the wave, or this one is 2 underline, and then we can just got them together. Some of my students will say, Miss, it looks like, so the number fourth term, that is positive, that is positive. So that is 3 by square x. But another one is 2xy squared. But guys, remember the algebra law. So we studied the last one in the algebra law. So the last one say if you have more than two or more than 2 letters, we have to follow the alphabetical order. So that means your x have to be go first. And x is the power 1. So x go first with the power 1. And y will go to the second. So y will be with the power 2 here. So that is y squared. So you see, after we follow the alphabetical order, so the second term and the fourth term, definitely they are like terms. So we can combine them together. So your positive 2 plus positive 3, that is positive 5 come out. And the first one is 5xy, take 2xy, that is 3xy. So now we will check what we study from the next two examples. And this one is multiplication and division, and this one is expanding the brackets. So we will also do some revision from last year. So before we do all these examples. So for the multiplying and dividing, so what you have to know is you have follow some rules. Is about we have the number time numbers. So 2 times 7, and that will be the product. Go to the final result as the coefficient. And h times l, so that will be goes to the product also. And also you have to check if they follow the alphabetical order, and did the number go to the first, and did you leave out the multiplication symbol. So that is the three things you always need to check, okay, for your algebra result. And the second question is -3 times 2, so that is -6. And p times p again, we got p squared, then r. So then you still have to check or if it follow the algebra order. So here. So now guys, we will check the expanding the bracket. So before we do expanded bracket, first you have to review so what we studied from our year 9. So that is the distributive law. You definitely have to remember. So here is expanding a bracket. Okay, if we do algebraic expression, that means you have to use distributive law. And what's the distributive law? This is means separate. Tributive, that means I give or sharing. So distributive law here, it means the outside bracket, the term A, so this term. So I have to separate sharing to everyone in the bracket. So that's why you will got A times by B, because here there's no symbol in front of bracket, that means A times the whole bracket. So then we can share A to B, so A times B and A times by C. And for this expression, so expanding the bracket, we can also use these two examples to have a look, okay? And the 7 share to m, so I got 7m. And 7 share to 4 is 7 times 4, so that's 28. Then what's the sign in the middle? Will be negative. So I just copy the negative symbol down. So result will be 7m take 28. And the same question like this one. So you have to use -6 share to A. And then -6, you have share to -3. And then the middle symbol, you can use plus. Then what you got is -6a, then plus negative times negative, that is positive. 6 times 3, that is 18. So you plus a positive 18 here. And then you got -6a plus, because 2 plus mean together, still plus. So that's your final result. But some students also say, Miss, I don't like this way. I like use this negative. Okay, so if you want to use negative, still we use distributive law. So -6 times A. Then you just want to keep this negative, so we ignore this negative. We use -6 share to 3. So -6 times by 3. Okay, and then we just copy this negative down. So now we check what we got. First one is -6a. And then second one is we got -6 times 3, that is -18. So I can write down, keep on write down, the next part is take -18. So take -18, that means it's positive. So -6a plus 18 will be the final result. So that is expanding. So expanding, you always have to remember we use distributive law. And also next part is we have to do the factorize. So here they have some keynotes, you can have a look and try to remember. but I won't request my students copy this one down, but you have to know what is distributive law. So this one, I will ask the students to write them down, okay, to keep that in their mind. And also we talk about factorize. So factorize, that means you have more than two terms or even three or more, and you have to find out what's the highest common factor. So highest common factor in this kind of question, that means two parts. First part is from your number, so coefficient. Second part is from the letters. So now we just check question 8a to see what is the highest common factor means. So you first write down the number 6 and 15. So it all starts from your primary school knowledge. So what's the factor of 6? We can reckon. So what are the whole number? They time each other will be equal to 6. And then these numbers multiples will be the factor of 6. Okay, so now we can write them down because from our primary school we all study the numbers at positive. So we start from the positive. So positive 1 and 6, definitely they are a pair, time each other equals 6. And 2 times 3. So for my students, I said you can draw as a rainbow, you see, because 2 and 3, they are one pair. Then 1 and 6, they are another pair. So that means 1, 2, 3, 6, they are the factors of 6. And you can look in the others, but for 6, we only have these 4 factors. And for 15, there are 1, 15, and then 3, 5, done. Okay, so also you can write down as a rainbow because 3, 5 will be a pair, and then 1, 15 will be another pair. You can see they lack a symmetry, okay, relationship. So now we can find it. So what are the common factor between 6 and 15? Common factor 1. Definitely, because they all have the factors 1. So they called common factor. And also we can find another common factor is 3 and 3. And but we need to find out is the highest common factor. So for the highest common factor, we only pick 3, 3, and that's it. So 6a take 15, and we take 3 is our common factor. Okay, so 3. So then we can write down 3 outside bracket. Then in the bracket, I will use 6a divided by 3. So 6 divided by 3, that is 2a. And 15 divided by 3, that is 5. Then I copy down the negative symbol here. Okay, so I got this is my factorized result. So if some of you not sure will ask me, am I right? So what are you going to do? You can use distributive law, just do the expansion. So 3 share to 2a, that is 6a. So we go back to 6a. 3 share to 5, that is 15. And in the middle, that's negative, so we write down negative. So you see, through this way, we can get a factorized successful. Okay, so that is this one. And now we will check question B. Question B, you can find out they not only have letters, numbers, they have the common factor, also the letter part. So now we check what's the factor of 20. So they are 1, 20, and 2, 10, then 4, 5. So I still can use rainbow. So 4, 5, 2, 10, and 120. And also I can write down 15. So 15 is 1, 15, and 3 and 5. That's it. Okay, so I can write down that is also another pair. And then I can find out what are the highest common factor. Common factor 1, common factor 5, and the highest common factor have to be 5. Okay, so now I can do the factorize is for the numbers. That's supposed to be 5. And then I will check the letter part. Mine is p to the power of 6, mine is p to the power of 4. So what's the factor of p to the power of 6? We can use the same way, so multiples. So we know p 1 times p to the power of 6, definitely. And then p times p to the power of 5. So there are another pair of the factor. and p squared times p to the power of 4, and then p cubed times p cubed, okay? Because I want to repeat p cubed so twice, okay? So I want to repeat that. So that is why I only write down 1p cubed. And p to the power of 4, same way. So that is 1p to the power of 4. Then p times p to the power of cube, so p cubed. And then p squared times p squared, okay? So we can find this group and that group. Definitely the highest common factor will be p to the power of 4. So that is why when you do factorize 20 and 15, and you have to write down is they have the common factor will be 5 between 20 and 15. And p to the power 6, p to the power 4, that is p to the power 4. So will be the highest common factor. So then what's left behind from the first one is we have to 20 divided by 5, 20 divided by 5, that is 4, and then p squared. And plus 15 divided by 5, that is 3, and p to the power 4 divided by p to the power 4, that is 1. So that's why the next one, sorry, I write it down clearly, so that is 3 here. Okay, so then you can do the factorize. So use a time symbol here, so they time each other, but time sign can all meet. So the final result will 5p to the power of 4 times the bracket. So 4p squared in the bracket, take 3. So now we can check your answers here from the solution. So this one is exactly the answer for this question, okay? So we can find it. That is correct. Same way, if you're not sure, you can use distributive law. So times share the first one. 5 times 4, that's 20. Then p to the power of 6. Then 5 times 3, that's 15. P to the power of 4. And exactly, they will be the same as your original question. So you can give yourself a tick. And I think the last part from this one is substitution. So when you do the substitution, basically you just do a replacement. So what's the replacement means here is, if you have an expression here, you basically just replace the unknown value. So when we have a a, then we use the value -3 replace your a. So the a square take 2bc, and when your a equal -3, I won't write down a, I will write down -3. And also a have to be squared, so -3 have to be squared. And b is 5, so I will write down 5 here. And c is -1, so c is my -1. But 2bc, remember the algebra law said there is no symbol, that means they time each other. So it will be 2 times 5 times -1. So the whole question will be looks like -3 squared. Then take 2 times my 5 and times my -1. And then you just use all the bad math or big math to check the order of the operation, then got the answer. So bracket will be first, -3 times -3, 2 negative is equal positive, 3 times 3 will be 9. And 2 times 5, that is 10 times -1, so that is -10. And then this middle negative will be copied down. And 2 negative, we know that is positive. So 9 plus 10 instead. So the answer is 19. So that is the substitution kind of question. After we finish all of this, you can do more practice here. Okay. And also normally I will give my students homework. So you can see here, these questions I pick for my students. They don't need to do all of them. So in the red circle, so all this kind of question, I will use that for their homework. So because, this lesson we definitely study a lot because it's basically like a revision for what we study from our year 7, year 8, and year 9, so for the algebra. So at the end, we will go back to learning intention. And so, do you have idea for what are the terms, coefficient, expression, equation? So equation always have an equal sign, huh? And also you can find out what are the like terms, and only like terms we can collect them or combine them together, and that means we can do addition and subtraction. So only like terms we can add them and subtract them. Okay, so multiply and divide, you have to always keep that in your mind. So you have to do two parts. First part is you multiply or divide the numbers, and then you just check the letters. Okay, and also for the expanding or expansion bracket, you always have to use distributive law. And also next one we studied factorize. You have to find out the highest common factor. So like the way we did in our primary school, find the highest common factor from the numbers. And also currently we study algebra, so also we add up some letters. And also substitution, we just do the replacement. Okay, so guys, that is basically what we study from this lesson. And I hope everyone can get a good study and for their math, and before we start this whole topic for the algebra. Okay, so thank you for everyone. So yeah, so listen my lesson today, and hope you have good luck for your math study. Okay, thank you everyone. See you next lesson.